This edition of Sports Galore is proudly brought to you by Subway. And now, here's your hosts, Mark Allen and Adam Treloar.
G'day everybody, welcome to Sports Galore with Adam Treloar. I'm Mark Allen, and of course this is Adam Treloar. Nice to see you, buddy.
Again. Another week.
Yeah, another week. Hey, let's have a quick chat about last week. In my game, golf, one of the biggest stats in the world is the bounce back, and you wouldn't believe it, but the best players in the world, they make birdie after a bogey more often than anybody else.
Absolutely, mate.
It's the resilience stat.
Absolutely.
How's the resilience down at Collingwood?
No, the resilience. I can't even say the word. Tongue twister. The resilience is it's massive. I mean, we have to have it because obviously when you're not going too well, which obviously we aren't at the moment, it's how we bounce back, and that's what we plan to do this week.
Ben Kennedy and Harry Lumumba, we remember him as, but it's already a Lumumba. Yeah, you bet it is. They played against their old teams, and you're going to do that pretty soon as well. How's that experience going to be for you?
Yeah, Howie as well. Howie came up against Melbourne this week. I think it's a big occasion for him. Well, Howie was in particular, and Benny Kennedy obviously because first year out from being from that club. But it's just another game at the end of the day, and that's how you see it. And Melbourne have bragging rights at the moment, but hopefully we can get the win on Queen's birthday.
Pretty smooth transitions in our game when a player moves from one club next. Usually it's pretty smooth. Yeah. How would you go if you're how would you go if you're over in the NBA? I'm not sure whether you caught up with the Patrick Patterson story.
I was talking about it before. Crazy. What happened before? You were telling me before.
So Patrick Patterson turns up to a game playing for Houston. So he plays for the Rockets. Turns up, goes through his normal routine. Goes out, walks the dog, goes home and has a sleep, gets something to eat, then comes to the game. There's a message for him to go and see the CEO and basically the equivalent of the footy manager. Yeah, just go see him. He's in a happy place because he's having, it's his third season. Their team's going to make the playoffs.
Well, yep.
They're going really well. So he thinks it's just, a nice little howdy-do. He gets along with the people in the front office.
20 minutes off the bench, might chip in.
It's no issue. Points. So he walks in, looks up and goes, "What's going on, boys? Everything okay?" And they said, "No."
Done.
They said, "We're trading you." He said, "What?"
Oh, the poor guy.
He said, "We're trading you." So in that situation, he goes back to the rooms. Oh, he actually asked who he got traded for. They tell him the name of the bloke he gets traded for. It's just some rookie kid who's not getting much game time at all.
Yeah. And then he goes home and watches Houston Rockets win on TV.
Well, first of all, he has to go back and talk to his teammates
and tell them. They
think it's an April Fool's joke. Then, as people are coming into the stadium, so he's at his home court.
Yeah.
People are coming into the stadium. He has to jump in a car and leave. They've organised.
And they're all wondering what's going on. Where's he going?
How would you go if AFL football operated like that?
Crazy. I'm so lucky and blessed that we don't have to worry about that. It's the same as NFL, really. There's another story. Sav Rocker. I don't know what team it was, though, but I remember him talking about it once that he was playing for one team in particular. Who was he? Was it the Giants that he was big for?
Let's say it was.
Probably wouldn't know, but it might have been the Giants. And, he just punted that night. Didn't go too well. Like, they lost. He wasn't going too well. And he said he went into the shower up, get ready to go home, go to the next game. And then the CEO walks in and goes, "Sav, mate, can we have a word?" And Sav's like, "Oh, okay, what's going on?" And the bloke basically boots him off the team and says, "We can't have you anymore." And this was a couple of weeks prior to the playoffs. Anyway, he goes, "Oh, well, that's a bummer." So anyway, the team signs him up, goes to that team the next day. I remember reading this story. He goes to that team, punts bad again, doesn't go too well, gets rid of him again. He's like, "What's going on?" So then what he decides to do to have a mental break, him and his family go to Disneyland and they have 3 days off. They hang out at Disneyland.
Mental break.
When he was at Disneyland, gets a phone call. This is prior to the playoffs. Gets a phone call from a team, says, "Sav, we need you to come and play for us," basically, along the lines of that. Yeah. So next day, one day he's in Disneyland. The next day he's lining up ready to punt for one of the teams in the playoffs. So it's bloody crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I wouldn't want to be living that lifestyle because he'd be moving all over the shop.
I want you to talk me through some of the biggest moves from team to team, not just in the AFL, but everywhere. The biggest ones were currently, you were obviously a very big move. Chris Judd was a big move. Buddy Franklin was massive. Dangerfield. That was just enormous mate, move.
I remember the Chris Judd one very vaguely because being a massive Carlton man when I grew up, I know I shouldn't say that because I play for Collingwood now, but
that's the way it goes.
I don't know. Being a Carlton man, back on last week's topic, idols, you guys you loved, and I love Chris Judd, and I remember I was going to New Zealand prior to this, after the season ending, and Carlton obviously hadn't gone too well that year, and there was talk that Chris Judd, the best player in the game, was coming to Carlton. And being a massive Carlton man, I was thinking, oh, that's a load of crap. That's not going to happen. Anyway, get to New Zealand land, and first thing I do is I go to the internet so I can see, because we had to pay to use one of the computers because I didn't have a phone or anything. Yeah. Got to there, went straight into the AFL website, checked, and it said, big bold heading, Chris Judd moves to Carlton, with a photo of him standing there. And mate, it made my whole holiday. I was there for a whole month, and that was the best day, the very first day when I landed, because of the finding out that Chris Judd moved to Carlton. So that was huge for me.
Can you imagine the money that they do over in the state, in the EPL and the European soccer clubs? How about Gareth Bale?
Yeah,
goes from Tottenham to Real Madrid, 157 million.
Yeah, see, another one. This is funny as well. One of my best mates, I've mentioned him, loves his soccer, and he loves Gareth Bale as well. And he told me at the time, Gareth Bale's going to get traded, and being like I'm an amateur soccer fan, so I know who the big dogs are. Knowing Gareth Bale, I thought, okay, wonder what he's going to get traded for, and he said something along the lines, well, it says 157 million,
crazy,
and I just remember thinking, are you actually kidding me? So I calculated on my phone. I wish I could remember what it was, because I calculated what he was earning per minute, and it was phenomenal.
It is horrendous,
phenomenal.
Mate.
It's ridiculous.
Hard to get your head around. I know you're a big NBA man. What are some of the NBA moves and
mate,
trades that you can't get your head around?
There's been huge ones. So I've got a list here. I quickly wrote down 5. So I'll name 5 good ones. Obviously, LeBron James is one that stands out the most, moving from Cleveland to Miami. And then when he left Cleveland, getting booed, jersey getting burnt, people sinning him, saying that you're never welcome back in Cleveland. Wins 2 rings for Miami, loses a 3rd one, but then comes back to Cleveland. So now they all love him and they're kissing him and everything. So that's a massive one. But one that I think is huge was the Dirk Nowitzki one. People wouldn't really know this one. So Dirk Nowitzki, the champion, probably the best European player to ever play NBA.
A Maverick now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Draft day. The story was that Dallas had pick 6 and Milwaukee had pick 9. And so what happened is Dallas drafted someone at pick 6 or whatever the thing was, and Milwaukee at pick 9, they drafted this 7-foot German named Dirk Nowitzki. Yeah. So then on draft night, they decide to trade. And so Milwaukee have traded away Dirk Nowitzki, who's, like I said, one of the best players of all time, to Dallas. And now he's been the franchise player for the last 20 years, and now they're in the playoffs again. So in terms of them two, they're probably the 2 biggest trades I reckon. But obviously there's other ones like Dwight Howard, Kevin Garnett, Shaquille O'Neal. They're other big guys that have gone to big clubs. So, mate, it's huge over there. And there's another one that I'm going to mention. Actually, no, I'll mention it a little bit later, about Luke Ridnour. Crazy story.
Subway have got involved, mate. Sports Galore is just getting bigger and bigger. And then we've got Subway. So a big thank you to Subway. But this week,
Italian meatball sub.
The Subway Sportsman of the Week. Now, this is a good one, mate. I like it. He kicked 2 amazing goals for Melbourne City and put them into the semi-final. I'm going to test you here whether you know whether his name is. The first was a scissor kick. Second was a free 23-year-old from Uruguay.
Yeah, it's a great goal.
Oh, you know it is, then.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Bruno Fornarelli.
No, Bruno Fornarelli.
That is him.
That's him.
Now, this bloke, I've been, the more you read about him, I thought he might have been a mature age guy when you first heard his name. He's only like 23 years old. So everywhere else he's played, he's from Uruguay. Everywhere else he's played, he's just been one of the soldiers.
Just a battler. He's
come here, and somehow John Van Skip has got the absolute best out of this character. I think he's kicked 25 goals for the season. It's an A-League record, and now he's doing scissor kicks.
He's carried his team into the, what was it, semi-final?
I think we're going to the semi-finals, mate. Well, the A-League version of the prelims.
Wow. Well, I might jump on the bandwagon now, actually, because they're just around the road. So let's go Melbourne.
Let's go Melbourne City. I'm with you. If you're, I'm Melbourne City. I'm going to jump. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon.
What about Melbourne Victory? Are they?
Well, I like the Victory as well,
but we're on Melbourne City.
We're on Melbourne City.
We're on Melbourne City.
We're on Melbourne City. Although we like seeing them both win.
Yes, we do.
Right now, this next little bit, I'm going to tell you a story every week. Yep. You've got to work out whether it's spot on or whether it's a fib.
All right.
Alrighty. It's called You Wouldn't Believe It. Right. So you might know that Ben Cousins, father of Brian, was a pretty good footballer. Yeah. Right? He was a very good player, played 238 games for Perth, so he could play a bit. In 1994, when Ben Cousins was just 15, Fremantle offered West Coast their centre-half forward Peter Mann for Cousins' father-son rights.
Oh, did they?
Well, think about that. So they said West Coast said,
1994, Freo offered Ben Cousins
Fremantle offered West Coast their centre-half forward, Peter
for
Mann,
Ben Cousins.
for the Cousins father-son rights. Yes or no?
Yeah, because he's a superstar.
Gotcha.
Not right.
Not right.
Is
Because
it?
every week I'm going to test you out. That wasn't
Are
a
you
bad one.
serious?
Thanks to the
Are you
producers
serious?
of Sports Galore.
How'd you make that one up? I would have thought that. I would have thought
That's
that.
what we're doing.
Oh, mate, I've got a. This is what I was going to mention before.
Righto.
You got to believe this though. Because there's a guy named Luke Ridnour who's an NBA veteran, as I say. He's played for 14 seasons, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And I think he's 35 years old, so he's a veteran of the NBA. Earlier this year, we're speaking of trades. Earlier this year, you wouldn't believe, but in the 1 week, he was traded 4 times to 4 different teams. And
4
one of them
times.
was my team's, Oklahoma. And I thought, here we go, we have a veteran point
In
guard off
1
the bench.
week?
Yeah, 4 times in 1 week. So the teams were Orlando, Memphis, Charlotte, and Oklahoma. So they were the 4 teams.
Yeah.
So then what happened after that is Oklahoma then traded him to the 5th team, Toronto.
Not
I think
the
it was
same
Toronto.
week?
Yeah.
In the same week?
Toronto. And so then, poor guy, he's been traded 6 times in the 5 times in the 1 week, moved house to house to house, and then you wouldn't believe the poor guy gets waived. Gets waived.
At the 15,
Yeah, gets waived.
they said, see you later.
Gets waived, so he's done. And the team that waived him, Toronto Raptors, finished 2nd in the East, and now they're in the middle of a tough playoff series against Indiana
So
Pacers.
you give me too much detail. I know it's spot on.
Yeah, it is spot on.
I know it's spot on.
It is spot
What was
on.
the guy's name again?
Luke Ridnour, 35 years old, and has been playing for 14 seasons.
5 trades in a week,
5
and then
trades
got
in the week,
wiped.
and then got waived to a team that finished 2nd in the East and who are more than capable to make the playoffs and maybe win it.
Righto, here's the news, and I want you to know. You just have to let me know whether
we
you
care?
care or not. The NBA playoffs. Don't even have to go any further. They've kicked off. Do you care? And
Do
which
I
series are you most interested in?
Mate, how long do we have? Well, obviously, the one I'm intrigued in the most is the Oklahoma one, my boys. We're playing Dallas Mavericks, and I'm a bit flat, to be honest, because we just lost our second game as of about half an hour ago. So it's 1-1 at the moment, and it's moving to the third game, so hopefully we can get the win. But I'm also intrigued in the... Well, because I don't like Golden State, as everyone knows, they're playing Houston Rockets as well, and... Golden State dismantled them in the first game, so
Destroyed
he's
them.
hoping that Houston can pinch a couple games here, or maybe bash them or something, so when they go into the next game, that they're not right, and whoever plays them next, which will either be Portland or the Clippers, I'm hoping Clippers, so the Clippers can bully them and beat them. So I am very interested in the playoffs, and I'm just hoping Oklahoma scratch and claw their way through.
Well, hopefully they get some of their injured players back and make something of the
Yeah,
match.
mate, yeah.
Now, Leicester, so close now
Yes,
to winning
I know,
the EPL.
I know,
So
I know.
close. Tottenham had a big win,
Yeah, they
I
did.
think it was yesterday.
Yep.
Care factor
Of
at the
course
moment?
I do. Yeah, I actually, because now we've been talking about it. I know you love your soccer, so we've been talking about it, and one of my mates loves his soccer. So I had a look at the schedule before. There's 4 games to go, and I checked both their schedules, and I think all Leicester need to do is win their next 2, and they stay 5 points.
Yep.
So let's hope they win, because it's a fairy tale story. I mean, like I said before, I still don't know when the last time someone won, bar the 5 big clubs in Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Man United. So to see Leicester win, hopefully they do. It'd
Mate,
be great.
I'm-
Even Tottenham.
I'm setting my alarm
Alarms
almost
for
at the
3 in the
moment
morning.
to watch it. I mean, I've never thought it would ever
I
happen.
wouldn't do that. I'd never do that. But
Righto, Nico Rosberg has won the Chinese Grand
Grand
Prix.
Prix.
3rd in a row. Care factor?
nah, not much.
Not
He
much?
rides the motorbikes, doesn't he?
No, he's a Grand Prix.
He's Grand Prix.
4
Is he?
wheels.
Oh, okay.
4 wheels.
Yeah, no, good on him. Good on him.
Righto.
I don't. Does Mark Webber do that?
Yeah, he used to.
He does.
Yeah, he used
He
to.
doesn't anymore.
Hadn't won 3 in a row,
Schumacher?
though. Yeah, Schumacher.
Is he still going?
No,
He doesn't do it?
He's in the bad way at the
Okay.
moment, Michael, and we wish him well.
Well, there you go. Oh, is he? Oh, the poor guy.
Yeah. Now, the IPL, the English Premier League cricket, that's underway. Have you been watching?
I haven't been watching, but I know a little bit of it. Oh, there goes my pen. I know a little bit of it. Shane Watson was pick 1, wasn't he?
Shane Watson, he's won a game off his own bat, did
Has
well. Yeah, and Aaron Finch has been playing well also.
Been going well.
Yeah, he's been
That's
going
good.
really well.
That's good.
Unfortunately, the Australian selectors left him out of our
Of
World
the
Cup
team.
team early days, which is disappointing when
Yeah,
you see the
yeah,
best
yeah,
player
yeah.
in the world at
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Kicking goals
Yeah,
before
yeah.
and after the World Cup, but we leave him out.
Yeah, there's a couple of massive cricketers here in Adam Oxley and Sidey, so I know they're disappointed with that.
Sidey's a cricketer as well,
he
is
loves
he?
his cricket.
So he loves his golf and
yeah.
his cricket.
Loves
You know I'm
this-
related to him?
Still side bottom.
Yeah, I call him Cousin Steele.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, he doesn't even know. The
You know what's-
Davies and the side bottoms are somehow connected.
Are they? Oh,
Yeah.
I believe it. You know what's? Let me just quickly say something.
Go on.
This is completely nothing to do with what we're talking about. But
Yeah.
back on still side bottom. One time he said to me, well, "Where are your Asics?" Because he knew what I was wearing, and I said, "How do you know what boot I wear?" And he goes, "I know everyone's boot in the AFL." And I said, "No, you don't." He goes, "No, I do." I said, "No, you don't." So, an hour worth of training, I would walk up to him and say, "Okay, what does so and so wear?" And I kid you not, he named every player's
Every
boot
player.
that they wore. I was
Other
naming
clubs,
all
other
my
clubs.
all my ex-teammates, all my ex-Giants teammates. I was naming them, and he said, "I know what boot they wear and which ones they wear."
Did he miss
Didn't
any?
miss any. Didn't miss any. So there you go. There's a little fun fact about Steel side bottom.
There's a bit of Rain Man
Yeah.
about Steele.
Yeah.
A bit of Rain Man. Now, last one in the care factors. Warwick Kappa. He's suing
did read
Chicken
about
Chain
this.
Nando's for
Yeah.
using his image
Oh my
without permission. I think around $250,000. Nando's offered him 10.
Oh mate, what's he? I just don't know. What's he thinking? Like, why? I don't know why. Why? That's the question. But I don't know. That's him, I suppose. And
250 sounds about right.
Yeah, I
I
know.
hope he gets it.
yeah.
Hey, Adam, thanks again, mate. Good luck on
you.
Anzac
Thank
Day.
you.
That's Sports Galore. We'll see you next time, folks.
Thanks to our friends at Subway, this has been another episode of Sports Galore. If you've got feedback on the show or you have a topic you'd like the guys to talk about, use the club's official social channels to let us know. Go Pies.